People who can eat anything and not gain weight. What's your secret? Story 1. While metabolism does play a small role, a lot of people over or underestimate how much they actually eat.
I used to work with a very small, thin woman, and she liked to claim she ate thousands of calories a day but never gained weight. She told me just that day she had probably already eaten 3,500 calories, and it wasn't even 3 p.m. She had drank an Ensure drink, had a plain hamburger, and one chicken tender with ranch. I'm aware some people eat whole large pizzas, gourmet cheeseburgers with fries, and chocolate cakes, but they don't do it every day, and the very thin ones usually do some form of exercise. Genetics are also a factor, but it really boils down to calories in, calories out.
Story 2. I was skinny right up until COVID, and I literally did eat whatever the crap I wanted. Massive omelet for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, chili for tea, snacks in the evening, plenty of coffee, water, and fizzy drinks. But I was active AF my whole life up that point. Used to skate all over the place, play squash twice a week, and hit the gym twice a week. Once COVID stopped me from doing anything but skating, I slowly stopped even doing that, and the weight piled onto 2 stone in a year and a half. But now I work full-time, and all my friends live ages away, so I'm barely active, and I seem to have to eat all or nothing but veg to lose anything. Just staying below calories isn't doing it. I have to stay below like 1,400, which as a 6-foot dude who used to eat whatever kinda pisses me off. Story 3. Nutrition student here.
The biggest factors influencing an individual's metabolic rate are going to be lean body mass, every lb/kg of your body that isn't fat, and neat non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Fat mass also increases metabolic rate, but to a much lesser degree than lean body mass. In practice, this means that bigger people almost always have greater baseline metabolic rates. NEAT is a pretty big factor, though. It's essentially any physical movement a person does that isn't intentional exercise. Things like fidgeting, waking, doing chores, etc. But metabolic rate has very little to do with why some people stay thin, while others stay overweight. That has far more to do with hormones, and how your brain regulates said hormones. Leptin is essentially a hormone that tells the brain you are full, and there are actually a lot of things that can cause this hormone to not do its job properly. Among those include issues in certain genes, having too many fat cells, a phenomenon known as leptin resistance, and more. Another prominent hormone is ghrelin, which stimulates hunger. Because hunger is regulated by hormones, modern anti-obesity medicine works centrally in the brain to target these hormone pathways. People who seemingly can eat anything and not gain weight simply seem that way from the outside looking in. They're eating a lot less when you're not paying attention. These people might, for example, eat a ton one day, and then barely eat for the rest of the week. Combine that with these people also generally being more active, and sometimes having more lean body mass, and you do get that illusion of eating anything and not gaining weight.
Story 4. Another thing people do is they eat too quickly because they don't realize that your hunger takes a little time to go away after you've eaten. They think they need to stop feeling hungry while still eating before they stop eating, which means they've already overeaten.
Ever since I've started cutting down my calories, I realized that even if I'm eating a small meal of like 250 calories, I feel just as full as if I'd eaten a big meal if I wait like 30 minutes for my body to register that I ate something, especially if that meal contains protein. If I'm still hungry after that, that's when I know I legitimately haven't eaten enough.
If I didn't stop and wait to let that time pass for my meal to sink in, I'd be a bottomless pit when it came to food if I didn't stop eating until I felt full. It would literally be a question of, how much food can I eat in 20 to 30 minutes before my system kicks in and realizes, oh yeah, I've eaten food, I'm good now. Story 5. I eat whatever I want and stay pretty squarely in the middle of the recommended BMI. I like food, usually eat nutritious food, but sometimes it's sugar or junk. The difference I've noticed between myself and people around me who struggle with weight is that I strongly dislike the feeling of being full. The food coma thing gives me panic and anxiety, and apparently it makes a lot of folks feel happy and relaxed, and they seek it out like a drug. Maybe not coincidentally, I react the same way to cannabis. It produces anxiety, not the relaxation other people describe. There's a huge middle ground between hunger and fullness, and that middle, where there's no sensation of either wanting food or feeling like I have food in my stomach, is my comfort zone. Also, I get a lot of physical activity. Even if I don't work out, I go for a lot of walks, clean, work on my house amp, yard, and generally fidget all the time. Story 6. 5 feet 7 inches and 108 lbs checking in. I've been considered underweight my whole life. I'm 33 YO and have weighed the same since 10th grade and still fit into the same clothes. But most of my family is like that. My mom, 5 feet 2 inches, didn't weigh over 90 lbs until she was 8 months pregnant with me. My grandparents on both sides have lean frames. All 4 of my siblings are long and lean as well. Honestly, for me, it's likely just genetic. I ate like absolute crap for most of my life growing up in the Deep South. Deep fried everything, lots of hamburger helper, and ice cream near every night. Now I'm older and have a much healthier diet. I'm the only one of my siblings who exercises and eats a varied diet, but we all have the same body type and are all considered to be underweight.
I feel like I read somewhere once, and this could be totally wrong, that you're born with the total number of fat cells you'll have your entire life, and that they just expand, contract. You don't necessarily gain or lose the cells themselves, so maybe we just have less fat cells? I honestly didn't even realize until a few months ago that most people fluctuate in weight throughout their life, being surrounded by family who just stay consistently skinny AF. I just simply assumed weight consistency was the norm.
Edit. Not sure if relevant or not, but almost all the women in my family, both sides, also get diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in their early 30 seconds. Story 7. I am in my mid-S, lbs, and I eat as much as I want. There is no secret, I exercise every day and minimize refined carbohydrates. TV is the exception, not the norm for me. I rarely get in a car, and I am averaging 7 miles of walking and running per day this year. I hit the gym several times a week, and have active hobbies like surfing, climbing, and sailing. It drives me absolutely nuts when people say, "You're lucky you have a great metabolism." There is very little luck involved. I built a healthy lifestyle for myself and maintain my body. It honestly seems like a way for people to avoid personal responsibility for their own bad habits. Unfortunately, in America, the deck is stacked against you. Sedentary lifestyles and junk food are the default. Some of my favorite sayings are, "It doesn't run in your family," "No one runs in your family," and "It's not in your genes, it's in your family's pantry." Also, they say you are an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose 5 fit people and you will become the 6th. Choose overweight people and you know what will happen. Story 8. No one can actually do this unless they have a severe medical condition, which is rare. People always say I have a fast metabolism, but that's not actually a thing. People do have faster and slower metabolisms, but the most extreme difference is like 200 calories a day, which is 1 donut. There's no neat trick around the conservation of mass. It's an immutable scientific principle. The only reason it seems like some people can eat a lot is because you're not seeing how much they eat or work out on a daily basis, and in some cases even they're not paying attention to it either. I used to be one of those kids who could eat anything and not gain weight, and in hindsight I spent every minute running around outside. And when I gorged myself on food, it was usually crap like green beans, not exactly calorie dense, and I tended to eat pretty small breakfasts and lunches, so it'd look like I was having a massive dinner, but in reality I was eating a normal amount over the course of the entire day. Story 9. I did this as a teenager.
I ate everything, got a reputation for eating everything, always having second or third helpings, finishing any leftovers, never gained weight. Eventually, as a student, supplemented 4 meals a day with a couple of packs of biscuits and several pints and lost weight. After losing over 40 pounds and 5 years of headaches, the doctors finally did a blood test. Overactive thyroid. So yes, severe medical conditions will do it. I'd been trying to tell the doctors about for years, but they said it was stress and did 0 tests. Of course, now I'm thyroidectomized, and losing weight is really hard despite what all the medical papers say. It is not just the thyroid metabolism, but it is harder to build muscle through exercise due to related hormone changes. Everything is just that little out of tune. Been training hard to see if fitness helps with energy levels, and the results are good, but frustratingly slow. And fitness doesn't help with energy levels as much as I'd hoped it might.
So if anyone is eating loads and not gaining, or losing weight, talk to your doctor, get a thyroid test. Story 10. I'm 6'1", and my default weight used to be around 155 pounds. It didn't bother me too much until my mid-20s, when I realized how skinny I was compared to my friends and I never filled my clothes out, etc.
I hit the gym as hard as I could and tried to increase my calories, but not much really happened. I definitely got stronger, but didn't put much weight on, annoyingly. Now I'm in my mid-30s, I've noticed that the gains are starting to stick, and have increased my weight to 185 pounds without putting on too much fat. I'd love to be over pound, but I think this is the heaviest aisle without eating any of Hulk Hogan's vitamins. Story 11. I walk to work and back. Each trip is a kilometer or two approximately. I have 4 or more training sessions per week, depending on my job and social obligations. The warm-up is usually running 2 to 5 kilometers in 10 to 30 minutes. I also have frequent bowel movements, and often, if I eat too much in one sitting, it sends me immediately to the bathroom, where it's pushed out in a watery stream like temporary diarrhea. The exercise is fun, the bowels aren't. I constantly have to keep in mind where the bathrooms are whenever I'm going anywhere, and always be careful that if I eat that, I'm ready to have to crap soon. This is complemented with constant stomach pains that give me cold sweats and nausea each and every morning, sometimes even during the day. And you can't control your farts if it's to save your life. Oh, and recently, this has given me hemorrhoids the size of cherries. Story 12. High metabolism. I'm actually not sure if I have high metabolism. I just assumed I did for as long as knew what high metabolism is. The older adults in my life say I'm skinny because I'm young, and the second I hit 30, I'll be 300 pounds if I don't exercise. But I think high metabolism. I don't have anyone in my family with weight problems either. My grandfather is 75 years old, and he looks quite healthy, buff, even. I've never seen pictures of my grandmother. My dad was adopted. His adopted mother was heavier, but I'm not related to her by blood, so I assume I won't gain weight because she adopted my father. My mother is skinny, and my father is skinny. My mother's oldest sister is skinny. I've never seen the middle sister. My oldest aunt's children are skinny. Everyone in my family that I know of is skinny or at most a healthy weight. Story 13. I'm almost 50, over 6 feet and about 165 lbs and have hardly any fat at all. I cannot gain weight. I used to exercise a ton, but even when I totally stopped for months on end, that has zero bearing on my weight. I can eat fast food once or twice a day. No prob. However, maybe because it's not a forbidden fruit, but I don't even like food unless I'm really hungry and I only eat as much as I need to. I often go without breakfast and just have 2 lattes because my body tells me that's all the calories I need. If I am hungry, I'd just eat porridge and berries, which is healthy. I just eat a sandwich or soup for lunch, but can go without if I'm super busy. My main meal is dinner, but I just eat a modest amount unless the food is amazing and I might have double. I rarely eat dessert. Super sugary food make me ill. It's so bad for you. So I just look at it like poison. Most people say they hate me for this. On the flip side, I always found outdoor swimming pools bitterly cold and would shiver. No blubber to keep me warm at all. Story 14. Lots of walking, coffee, and milk. Milk makes you feel full, so sometimes when I'm hungry, I'll have a glass of milk or chocolate milk instead of a snack. Milk is a great source of protein and makes you feel so full after 1 glass. Walking every day, even if it's an hour-long walk once a day or 2 half-hour walks every day. I did a 2.5-hour walk one day and tracked it, and I walked 9.8 kilometers. If you asked me if I wanted to go for a 9.8 kilometers walk, I would say crap no. But when you're out walking, enjoying the scenery and listening to music, you can easily forget about time, and next thing you know, you just walked almost km. Another thing I do is I work out late at night in front of my TV while watching my favorite shows. I start off with a quick stretch routine, and then move on to the 6 exercise moves. I will always do leg ups while laying on your side, holding yourself up with your arm, elbow, and doing the same on the other side, and then sit. Ups, and then leg kick-ups on each side, and then butt squeezes. They are super mild workouts where you don't sweat a lot at all, but you're working your muscles. Losing weight is one thing, but toning and building muscle is another. Story 15. For decades, I ate whatever I wanted. For breakfast, I would have a full sleeve of Oreos. For dinner, ice cream and cake. I drink about 4 liters of Coca-Cola a day. Also, I get 0 exercise. I sit around typing for 10 hours a day. I never put on any weight. I don't know why. I did get a diagnosis for type 2 diabetes in 2018, which is fair enough. To be honest, I don't think I get enough credit for the work I put into it. However, all my doctors were mystified because their first suggestion to people with my, and I quote, catastrophic blood sugar level is to lose weight. I just stopped eating sugar completely. After a brief unpleasant period experimenting with various drugs, I now take 2 Invokana a day and my blood sugar levels are normal. My weight hasn't changed much throughout this adventure. Again, I'm not sure why. I tried putting on weight. For a few months I consciously ate 200% of my normal food volume. I didn't put on any weight at all, but I was pooping 200% my normal volume.